Ever wanted to play a medieval city builder that promises a chance to gently grow a village into a bustling town, without it turning into panic clicking and nightmares about digital wheat shortages? Yeah, me too. That's why I jumped headfirst into Foundation, a game some often praise for its cozy medieval charm. But I wanted to find out, does it really offer that peaceful, cozy experience that I'm after? One important thing to note about Foundation is that it isn't your typical grid-based city builder where you're just plopping down perfectly aligned squares. Foundation takes pride in not using grids and offering a more laid-back medieval city building experience. It's all about organic development, building impressive monuments while carefully handling resource management, through juggling detailed production chains, farming and foraging, all the way up to crafting complex goods. Your villagers aren't just faceless drones either, they do have needs, jobs, and contribute to the overall happiness and efficiency of your settlement. And of course you get to design and construct some seriously impressive modular monuments, like churches and castles, piece by piece. So with Foundation, it challenges you to think less about rigid lines and more about naturally sprawling paths and buildings that actually look like they belong in the landscape. The idea is that your town feels like it genuinely grows over time, shaped by you and your people at the same time. That organic, gridless building system gives you so much creative freedom. So the game promises depth, beauty, and a fresh spin on a beloved genre, but the big question for today is it cozy? Because I'm on a mission to find the most unheard of and unconventional cozy games out there. So let's see how Foundation fares as a cozy game. A cozy game needs to make you feel like you're getting somewhere, that your village isn't just sitting there but actually evolving in a rewarding way. Foundation handles progression with a gentle touch, but with enough depth to keep you hooked for the long run. You start with the absolute basics, a few villagers, the need for food and shelter, and a piece of land just brimming with potential. The first things you do are simple: chop wood, gather berries, and build some basic shelters. The progression system, which got a nice polish for the 1.0 release, aims for a smoother and more rewarding experience. As your population grows, so does their needs, and this increase in complexity feels pretty natural. Your villagers will be happy with simple food and basic housing at first, but as you attract more people and your settlement starts to boom, they want better quality food, more services like a church and a tavern, and nicer houses. This is where the meaningful part of progression really kicks in. Unlocking new buildings and production chains isn't just about checking boxes on a tech tree, it's about responding to what your people actually need. As you advance, you unlock new buildings, technologies, and customization options, allowing for settlements to get more complex and efficient. And this feels like real growth. The economy, driven by your production chains and trade, is also a key part of how you progress. You'll go from basic resource gathering to creating refined goods, turning wheat into flour and then flour into bread, or wool into cloth, which turns into clothes. Setting up trade routes with nearby villagers lets you sell your extra goods for coin, which is vital for unlocking new blueprints, maintaining buildings, and expanding your territory. The feeling of setting up new production lines, watching your resources flow, and seeing your treasury fill up is incredibly rewarding. Foundation uses a system of splendour and influence tied to different estates, like labour, kingdom, or clergy, to unlock some of the more advanced stuff. You gain these by building specific buildings or fulfilling requests, which give you clear thematic goals to work towards. It's a system that encourages you to diversify your development and engage with different parts of medieval society. The problem with progression in Foundation is that there's a lot of red tape. You unlock buildings that drastically change gameplay, but the road to them is paved with checklists and an alarming amount of wood. There's very little room for improvisation, especially of how you approach things like the quests that will increase your influence. You often find yourself stuck, not due to challenge, but because you're waiting for the right number of labour splendour points to unlock the next round of upgrades and functions. So it becomes less emergent progression and more about waiting for the game to let you move forward at times. So it gets a 1 out of 2 for progression because the progress is meaningful and mechanical. but the journey doesn't always feel very easy and can feel like a grind. If a game is to be truly cozy, its atmosphere needs to immerse you in the game, and Foundation absolutely excels here, as it creates a world that's both breathtakingly beautiful and deeply immersive. This isn't some grim, gritty medieval world, it's picturesque, almost idyllic, creating a relaxing vibe. You half expect a villager to hand you a mug of mead and invite you to frolic in the wheat fields. The game radiates tranquility. That is, until you realise no one's actually building the warehouse you scheduled 3 weeks ago because you made Dave the Builder a fisherman. The sound design is just as vital. The stunning visuals are complemented by excellent sound design that powerfully boosts the relaxing feel. The gentle hum of the village life, like the church bells and the sheep bleating in the distance, really creates a rich soundscape. I would say overall the atmosphere in Foundation is let down though by its UI. It does feel cluttered and hard to read and digest information, especially at first, and it can be difficult to remember what every tab does and what it kind of houses, especially as your town grows and your citizens' needs and outputs increase. There is quite a lot to keep track of and it can be complicated by the UI at times. Despite this though, it is a 2 out of 2 for atmosphere because it is beautiful, calming and immersive, even if you occasionally trip over the interface. Let's talk about control, that empowering feeling of being truly in charge of your medieval world. This is where Foundation makes an immediate strong case for being cozy, with its fantastic gridless building system, which screams at you to forget those rigid squares. Want to tuck a berry gathering hut into a little clearing, or have a bakery nestled organically beside a winding residential street? Well, go for it. It's entirely up to you. This liberation from the grid is a huge part of what grants you such potent agency in Foundation. It allows you to be truly creative, designing a village that feels unique, personal, and most importantly, yours. This organic placement even influences how your village evolves. Roads aren't something you click to build, they emerge naturally based on where your villagers walk. Their desired paths gradually transform into established routes. It's a subtle detail, but it makes your settlement feel really alive. Being able to design and build monuments like a monastery piece by piece is another monumental plus for sense of agency. You're not just selecting a pre-designed cathedral from a menu, you're choosing the components, arranging them, and watching your grand vision materialise. This freeform building and creative town design are powerful contributors to the profound sense of coziness and sense of agency. But one of the primary areas where Foundation might feel a lot less cozy is with the escalating complexity of resource management. What starts as a really simple setup can evolve into an intricate process. This depth is great to help you engage in the game, but it can also increase micromanagement that detracts from that cozy feeling, as you spend a lot of time fiddling around with things in your granary, your production lines, whilst also trying to not spend too much money, which I always struggle to do. I spend way too much money in these games. Still, overall, it's undoubtedly a game that puts you in control. So it's a 2 out of 2 for sense of agency. It's your town, your rules, and your accidental bread shortage. Hey there, just a quick pause to say that if you're enjoying the chill vibes and discovering new and unconventional cozy games, subscribe to the channel. If you wanted to support the channel a little bit more, you can also give this slothy a coffee. And trust me, I need the energy. You can find the link in the description below. And now, back to the video. One of the best things about many beloved cozy games is that you can play them over and over again. Think about your go-to comfort game. Chances are you've gone back to it many times, perhaps even a bit more than you would like to admit. So how does Foundation hold up here? Well, it seems fairly replayable. A big reason is that gridless city building system. Foundation really helps you create organic layouts, which helps every game feel unique, and creates a visual and strategic variety that really offers replay value. Foundation also lets you customize game rules and pick different aspirations for each playthrough. Aspirations are like unique goals that can guide your development. maybe focusing on building a grand priory, a busy trade hub, or a strong fortress. This gives a theme to your game and encourages different ways of playing. One game you might want to be the devout leader, building a spiritual centre, and the next you might want to be a smart merchant, growing your economy. Foundation's flexible systems give you plenty of reason to come back. You might decide to challenge yourself with tighter resource management on one map, or go for a purely creative, relaxed build on another. Even the basic gameplay loop of managing resources and organic development encourages you to try new things. Maybe your first village struggled with wood, next time you might focus on forestry and get your lumber camp placements just right from the start. Or maybe you want to see how efficiently you can build a thriving community on a really tough map. Each new start is a chance to use what you've learned and try new strategies, all within the main goal of creating something beautiful and functional. But here's the drawback: unless you have fresh goals in mind, once you've done it once, you've kind of done it. There's no dynamic storytelling or surprise events that's going to make replaying the game different from next time. And whilst building your village is satisfying, the game's pacing and slow progression may start to feel tiresome over playthroughs. So it's a 1 out of 2, there's plenty of room to revisit and refine your village, and it's great for cosy tinkerers, but less so for seekers of novelty. A really important part of many cozy games is the connection you feel, not always to complex characters like in an RPG, but often to the world you're nurturing, the little folks you're caring for, or the personal space you're creating. Think about the affection players have for their neighbours in Animal Crossing, or the pride they feel watching their carefully planned farm thrive in Stardew Valley. In Foundation, player connection is tricky. The player connection mostly comes from the relationship you build with your growing settlement. You watch a humble patch of land turn into a bustling medieval town. This journey from a handful of tents and villagers to a thriving community with impressive monuments is a powerful way to connect. You're not just some abstract city planner, you're the guiding hand behind it all. The game really emphasises this by having villagers build their own homes in the zones that you set up, and create natural organic paths as they go about their day. It makes the village feel alive and responsive. Now, it's true that individual villagers in Foundation aren't super fleshed out. You're probably not going to form personal bonds with your baker and your weaver. You're the invisible hand here, omnipotent, overworked and completely unacknowledged, and you're watching over your villagers go about their day. These villagers are defined by what they do and how often they fail to do it, which makes connecting with them rather tricky. It's hard to feel emotionally invested in Bob number 43 when he's just a resource node with legs and no backstory. You're not so much in the world, but you're above it, clicking, planning, assigning and zoning. That said, the individual personalities and stories just aren't the main focus. Instead, the emergent stories come from the town itself. Maybe it's the tale of how your struggling first settlement overcame a food shortage, or the pride you feel when you finish your first magnificent church. The connection is more to the whole village, its growth, its challenges, and its successes. It's therefore not entirely obvious how you're meant to connect with the game, as it isn't predetermined. So it's a score of 1 out of 2 for player connection. There's emotional distance and 0 characters to bond with, but you do get to impose your personality through design, and sometimes that's enough to feel like you belong. So after digging into Foundation, we come back to our main question. Is Foundation a cozy game? Well, it scores a 7 out of 10, putting it in our almost cozy category. The answer, it really seems, is yes, with the understanding that cozy in a city builder has its unique flavour. Foundation's flexible systems, it's focused on organic design, and its generally gentle difficulty curve. It's a positive feedback loop that encourages creativity and relaxation. Foundation provides a different kind of cozy. The cozy of creation, of nurturing a living, breathing settlement, and of losing yourself in the gentle rhythms of medieval life. It's perfect for players seeking comfort, creativity, and calm. So what do you think? Do you think Foundation offers a truly cozy experience? And what parts of it make it feel relaxing and inviting to you? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care!